Colors detail, hot 10, hut.
Nice. North Star colors properly executed.
Very well. Relax your masks. Colors detail, parade, rest. All right, good morning everybody. XO, I think you have today's Medal of Honor reading for us. Please proceed.
This is one of my favorite parts of colors, when we get to honor the men and women who have done incredibly brave things in the defense of our nation. This one is for Lieutenant Clyde E. Lassen, United States Navy. This was during the Vietnam War. He was a helicopter pilot attached to Helicopter Support Squadron 7, and the action date was on June 19th, 1968. So back in June of 1968, the 26-year-old lieutenant, junior grade, was flying his UHA-2 Sea Sprite helicopter to recover two downed naval aviators. Their F-4 was shot down during a night interdiction mission in North Vietnam. They were in some hilly, covered brush terrain, and Lieutenant Lassen made several attempts to recover them, several flare illuminated attempts, and he could not do it. And despite being under heavy anti-aircraft fire, he decided to reveal his position. He illuminated his landing light so he could land and pick up the aircrew. Low on fuel, he evaded further anti-aircraft fire all the way to the ship and landed with only 5 minutes of reserve. So truly a heroic act. And the citation will read as follows. Air Force Orlando, I-10, hut. Citation: for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty as pilot and aircraft commander of a search and rescue helicopter attached to Helicopter Support Squadron 7 during operations against enemy forces in North Vietnam. Launched shortly after midnight to attempt to rescue two downed aviators, then Lieutenant J.G. Lassen skillfully piloted his aircraft over unknown and hostile enemy terrain to a steep, tree-covered hill on which the survivors had been located. Although enemy fire was being directed at the helicopter, he initially landed in a clear area near the base of the hill, but due to the dense undergrowth, the survivors could not reach the helicopter. With the aid of flare illumination, Lieutenant Lassen successfully accomplished a hover between two trees at the survivors' position. Illumination was abruptly lost as the flares were expended, and the helicopter collided with a tree, commencing a sharp descent. Expertly riding his aircraft and maneuvering clear, Lieutenant Lassen remained in the area, determined to make another rescue attempt and encouraged the downed aviators while awaiting resumption of flare illumination. After another successful illuminated rescue attempt, and with his fuel dangerously low and his aircraft significantly damaged, he launched again and commenced another approach in the face of continuing enemy opposition. When flare illumination was lost again, Lieutenant Lassen, fully aware of the dangers and clearly revealing his position to the enemy, turned his landing lights on and completed the landing. On this attempt, survivors were able to make their way to the helicopter. En route to the coast, Lieutenant Lassen encountered and successfully evaded additional hostile anti-aircraft fire, and with fuel for only 5 minutes of flight remaining, he safely landed aboard the USS Gillette, DLG-29. Naval Force Orlando, at ease.
Hey, thanks XO, appreciate that reading this morning, and gentlemen, thanks for participating and getting the flag raised for us this morning. We'll do some announcements here in a minute, but for right now, colors detail, I-10, hut. Dismissed, carry out plan of the day.
Yes, sir. Right, base. Dismissed.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to NSA Orlando here. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing the color ceremony that we performed today. We're going to try to do that more or less once monthly. That was an idea and a suggestion that was provided to us via Captain's Call suggestion, so keep those coming. It was good to get out here and do that again and have some form of normalcy back for the team, with that being one of the special things that we do here at NOC-TSD and NSA Orlando to celebrate our country. It's especially important we did that as we passed the 75th anniversary of the victory over Japan Day. So, imagine a ceremony like that happening in the Bay of Tokyo with 250 ships, at anchor awaiting the signing of the armistice from World War II. What a sight that would have been. So 75 years later, we stand here at NSA Orlando. I'd like to thank once again all the members of our team for all the continued focus on the mission at hand and our work that's important for the fleet as we go through this tough time of the COVID pandemic. We're getting closer and closer to coming back as a workforce and starting to ramp back up into that and achieving some level of the new norm, and we're working to define that right now as well. I do want to mention that this coming weekend is Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend is the traditional end of summer. It's not so much the end of summer for us here in Florida, but it does provide a long weekend to get out and enjoy things. Safety is always a big part of that. We certainly need everybody back after the holiday, and we certainly don't want anybody to get hurt and such. But this year, safety is going to take on a completely different meaning. We have the threat of COVID still out there, and we certainly don't want to be part of a spike that would happen on the backside of the Labor Day weekend. So, definitely overlay, your COVID planning and COVID mitigations on top of anything you want to do this weekend as you go out there, and we'll see you back next week after a long, restful weekend. But speaking of the COVID data and how we're doing there, I want to turn to the XO and get an update on the COVID situation. So XO, what can you tell us about how we're doing on COVID right now?
Skipper, thank you. So the data, as you said, is trending downward, and we're on the way to being able to request from the United States Fleet Forces Command, request permission to set HPCON, or Health Protection Condition Bravo. I mentioned the data has been trending downward. That means the number of cases each day and the number of people with flu-like and COVID-like symptoms is also going down daily. Also, the percent rate of positive tests has gone down. Things had sort of spiked late June to early July, as high as 18%. Now they're down at around 5% or so, roughly. Also, the transmissivity rate is starting to go down as well, and actually has come down quite a bit. From that height, we were somewhere around 370 people per every 100,000 people per week. Now we're down to about 70 to 75 depending on the day, and it continues to trend downward. Keep in mind that HPCON Bravo, to transition to HPCON Bravo, we need 50 people for every 100,000 per week. So we're close, but it's still going to take a little bit of time, Skipper.
Awesome, thanks for that, XO. So one thing I do want to make sure we get the team to understand is, what's going to be different after we make that transition to HPCON Bravo. What are we going to see here at NSA Orlando and around the Team Orlando complex?
Thanks, Skipper. We just met with the reset team yesterday, and we were discussing that very thing. What we can see is we're going to have the allowance for increased capacity in the workspace, basically going from about maximum 25% of the workforce back to up to 50. This will give the opportunity for folks to come back to the workplace. Also, it will give us the opportunity to travel. We're going to lessen travel restriction because if we're going what they call green to green, or places that are HPCON Bravo like to HPCon Bravo, like it allows us to open up the aperture. This will allow us to accomplish some tasks that we have been deferring until we could more effectively mitigate the risk associated with that travel.
Awesome. Well, it'll be good to get some more folks back here on the base now that we can do that safely. And safety is the key on that for sure. Certainly, we've had somewhere on the order of 100 to 110 folks on the base on a given day, sometimes as many as 200. As we, mostly those folks that are doing facilities projects for us. And as those facilities projects are coming to an end, and we have places for people to sit again and such, it'll be nice to bring some of the team back and be able to work in a combined hybrid sort of fashion that'll allow us to be more efficient. One thing I do want to ask as well, XO, is what do we expect? Are there things with our screening processes and that sort of thing that may be different than what we've been doing all along that you'd like to highlight for the team?
Absolutely, Skipper. There are a few things, and we recently updated. As many of you know, our screening process has been a little bit more restrictive than what was put out by U.S. Fleet Forces Command and by Northcom. We've had a restriction to we have to be within the local area for 14 days to come into the building. We've expanded that a little bit, so now that if anyone in your house leaves the local area, or if you have out-of-town visitors, you have to have a conversation with your supervisor to figure out whether or not you can come into the building. And I say that because if we could mitigate the risk, and it's for a short duration of time, there are allowances for folks to come into the building. Also, another thing that we added was if you're getting a COVID test, whether it be for travel or any reason, you're not to come into the building till you get the results of that test. Now, the screening questionnaire, like I said, is there for your safety, and we are being more stringent than Fleet Forces Command. But if you answer anything but no, if you answer yes to any one of the questions, it doesn't mean that you can't come into the building automatically. It means that you have to have a conversation with your supervisor to figure out if we can mitigate the risk. However, there are two exceptions to that off the cuff. One is that you have COVID or flu-like symptoms, that you cannot come in the building for that, and if you're waiting for that test results. That was the other one. That's it, Skipper.
Great. Hey, one other thing I want to make sure we highlight here for the team. We've been doing temperature checks on a daily basis for since we went to HPCon Charlie and such. Have we got something that we're going to do a little bit differently with that as we move to HPCon Bravo and start bringing more people back?
Yes, sir. We thought about that, and we wanted to increase the rate at which we can get people through the building so they weren't congregating in the lobby. So we have these automatic temperature screeners. Basically, what you do, Skipper, is you walk right up to it, it zeroes in on your face, it'll either say you pass or you fail, depending on the temperature range that's set. And we have that range set according to the COVID conditions. So you'll get a green flash, and it'll say you're authorized, or basically it'll say that you're normal or not normal. And you can proceed from there. The person that's issuing your badge will hear that and be able to issue the badge much more quickly and get people flowing into the building.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that improvement. That was a great beneficial suggestion on the part of Chief Ahi Hable that's been working with us as to augment our safety team here for the duration of the COVID pandemic. So it's important to understand first and foremost that as we start to get close to transition to HPCon Bravo, safety and health for all the workforce is still a huge priority. There's nothing that's changed with that. That is our number one priority, balanced with our mission. We will absolutely continue to work with the workforce, with your concerns and your comfort level on this, and we're going to make sure we do this safely as we move forward. With that, I want to thank the team. You continue to have focus, you continue to have diligence, you continue to turn out great product and make sure our warriors are ready to go, even throughout all the distractions that comes with this odd period in our time, whether that's doing some homeschooling, whether that's caring for a loved one, or whether it's just working through some of the IT challenges that come with being a distributed workforce at times. Thank you for that, and keep it up. Let us know how we can help. As always, you help our warriors be ready to fight tonight and prevail against tomorrow's threat. So keep it up.